for the family above individual, it often goes unnoticed, you see, because you just take it for granted, in that context. So in your case, I know that you got through MIT, you decided not to go. You also took a back seat as far as your career is concerned, took a slower pace because you had two children who you were bringing up. These are tough decisions for a person who knew her way, who knew her past. Was there ever a dilemma in your mind when you took these decisions?
No, it was there more than dilemma. I had difficulties in accepting for some time. For example, not going to MIT, my father told me, "You got a job, what is your opinion?" I said, "I'm not taking up a job, I want to go to MIT." Then my dad asked me, "Why did you write to Tata?" I said, "I wanted justice." I said, "He has given you a justice, okay, I'll accept. Now why you don't want to go?" I said, "No, I want to go to MIT because I want to do my PhD." He said, "You are opportunist in that time. Because you will raise an issue, when the solution is given, you want to run away because you want to go abroad. And I'm sure if you go abroad, you will do your PhD well and you'll get a job and you won't come back like most Indians. Then why did you open this question? Why did you open a Pandora box? When did you ask questions? You are responsible for the results and you are running away from it." He said, "As a father, I feel when you have asked questions, you knew the solution, you should take it forward. Otherwise, you should not have asked that question. You should have gone to MIT without worrying about all these things." He said, "Make your decision, but I have given my opinion." I always respected my father. I'm sure girls always respect their parent, father more than mother, because that is somehow girls are connected to father more, in particularly in every family, I feel. Boys are to the mother and girls are to the father in general. And I used to take my father quite seriously. So 2 days I thought over it, then I cried and tore my MIT admission. Maybe I was brought up in those days where we never said, "It is my decision, it's my life, I want my room and I want my space." We never had. When the elders tell something, it is always for our benefit. They will guide us, but we have to make the decision. But they will show us the lamp, but I have to walk. They will make the path, but I have to run. I took a decision. And it took some time for me to accept it, that I can't go to MIT. Later in my life, I realized God will close a window, but He will open the door. If I would have gone to MIT, I must have retired as a technical director somewhere in some company. But today, in my own country, I can touch the lives of many people, and that has given me immense happiness. And I don't have any regret about it.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Sudhaji, the other part of you is really how you have stood as a rock behind your husband. The seed fund for Infosys came from you because you were earning more than him at that time. And you gave him that money. You said, "I'm here to back you." Like you said, you took care of the home turf while he went and fought the battle for Infosys outside. But you never joined Infosys. Why was that?
It was Murthy's decision, because Murthy said, "This should be a professional company. Between two of us, one should be there." He said, "If you join, then I will not join. Okay? If I join, you should not join. The reason is both husband and wife should not be in a company." But I realized that I need not join, but I can support it, which without joining, I supported.
But today you're doing so much of work through the Infosys Foundation. What gives you the most joy? I feel with success and money, you also have tremendous responsibility in a country like India. And you walk that talk because you have never, basked in the glory of what you have created. You've always looked forward towards what more you can do. So I really want you to talk about this.
We did a lot of work. Actually, in 25 years, we've done a tremendous amount of work. Work is not a problem. But I used to question about myself. Why God, we come from a middle class family. My father was a doctor, grandfather was a school teacher, mother was a school teacher. And we are not like very rich people at all. And why God made me and Murthy rich? What is the reason? This is a question I used to ask to myself. But I got that answer after maybe 18 years. In foundation, when I used to work, it took 18 long years for me to work with the sex workers and changing 3,000 of them to normal life. So I would tell you to read that book, 3,000 Stitches, where I talk about it, how I started that work and how they threw chappals at me, how they threw tomatoes at me, they ridiculed me. And I used to come and cry, and my father was alive at that time. I told my father, see, I can sit in a house, I can go to a club, I can spend a lot of money in other things. And why I should be beaten, I should take chappals and tomatoes. He said, that is your choice, beta. You have made a choice. Nobody has told you that you should make this choice. You have made a choice. In ignorance, you get bad things also. It took 18 years for me to change 3,000 sex workers to normal life. Of course, I had a very great help of Abhay Kumar from Delhi. Without him, I would not have done. Now, I finished that work. They wanted to call me and, there was a Thanksgiving ceremony. And that immediately I got the answer. I used to say, why God gives money? For what reason? I remembered a very famous shloka in Mahabharata by Raja Rantideva, which says, oh Rantideva, Lord Shiva comes and says, Raja Rantideva, you are such a great philanthropist. What do you want in the next life? You want a good health? You want you want to be a handsome person? You want a kingdom? You want gold, silver, whatever that. He says, no, Lord, I don't want anything. Nattoham kamaye rajyam. I don't want kingdom. Na swargam na punarbhavam. I don't even want swarga. I don't want to be reborn. But if you want, I should be reborn. He says, give me the soft heart and hard hands to work for others. I felt that moment, God gave me money for this reason. A daughter of a doctor and a granddaughter of a school teacher, marrying an unemployed man with lot of others in his mind, which are many times practical or impractical. Okay, a man who goes behind something, he will never stop. And such person you marry, take a lot of responsibility of the house and other things, and you get money. This is the reason this money is only meant for the public. And God, you gave me an opportunity to serve your 3,000 children who otherwise would have suffered in the Kamatipura, have come out and are leading a good life. Maybe I was born for this. And that day onwards, I don't have any ambiguity, anything in my mind. My mind is Kora Kagat, very blank. I don't have any wish list. That gave me internal so much peace. And almost, normally I don't get upset. I don't get upset at all, actually. But after that, there is absolutely nothing, no anger in my mind. It just disappeared of anything. No anger, no disappointment, nothing about praise, nothing I want in life. Oh Lord, dehante tava sanidhyam, dehihe mama madhavam. Oh Madhava, you should be in front of my eye. I don't need anything.
Give me a soft heart and hard hand. That hard hand is very important because there is another story that I've heard you speak about how you gave a lot of books in charity, and then you had gone to a shop and you saw one of the books that you had given, the paper, I think it was an atlas. It was used as a wrapping paper for some fruits or food that you had bought. And you took a decision that I'll never give anything free because it's never appreciated. That's a wonderfully important lesson to learn also, because a lot of people would argue, but who are you to question whether it's right or wrong, of how it is used? How do you internalize this, and how did you decide, or how did you come to the idea that you should give something that people pay for because that's when they are truly appreciative?
Over a period of time with experience, I learned. For example, in this world, other than mother's love, nothing should be free. Maybe somebody is hungry. Okay, feed them for 10 days, 15 days. In Corona, we have done that one, but not forever. There should be an exit policy for everything. Because when you give free, people disrespect and misuse. That in 25 years, I learned what to do, when to do. Everything has an exit policy.
Sudhaji, you're also a mother. You brought up two very smart, very confident children. How did you inculcate this value of truth in them?
Walk the talk. That is the best example for children. Children look at their parents in initial age, and both parents are role models. If you lie, they lie. If you talk about others, they will talk. If you don't read, they don't read. What you do, your children absorb, like how a sponge absorbs water. So I told my daughter, you should not buy too many dresses. I also will not buy. I told my son, you should not see TV because it is, more than an hour. He said, you also should not see. He said, I will also not see. Okay. So I told him, in the late hours, he said, I get bored, I'm studying. Will you sit next to me and do? I said, okay, I'll sit next to you. I will also study. If you want what your children have to become, you should become like that.
Right. But you also redefined the way you saw yourself when you became an author. You started writing for children. Today, you're a best-selling author of children's books. How did you walk that path? What was that journey like? Did you ever think that you would be writing for children one day?
Not that I became a writer later part of my life. That is not true. From the beginning, I used to write. My mother used to write. When I started foundation, my canvas became large and I wrote lot more incident I could see. Then I could write lot more. But I felt if you give a sermon to children, children get bored. So write a story, they will remember. So I started writing for children.
There's some questions, Sudhaji, that have come from our viewers, and I'm going to take some of these questions. The first question is that you talk a lot of the value system that your family inculcated in you. But how do others develop clarity about how you get to be glorious and walk the path of truth? How did you pull yourself back from this? Or how did you deflect this trap that so many people get into, no matter how good they are?
When we achieve something, we have achieved. We never think deeply about it. When you achieve something, there are many people who are part of it actually. And there are many people who are as hardworking as you are. But sometimes luck doesn't favor. When you work, there are many people who give input and we don't remember. We think money can buy everything. No. Money can buy respect, but it's not a true respect. Money can buy friendship, but it is not a true friendship. We are born in a society where many people require your help. Tell me, what is that incident which made me to be born in Dr. Kulkarni's family, not in the slum? It was not my choice, right? But there are many bright people other side of the line who are as good or maybe better than me. And they are born in the other side of the line. So I feel it is our duty to help them.
Right. Tell me, Sudhaji, when you're young, when you're starting a family, when Mr. Murthy was starting Infosys, the challenges are everyday challenges, right? It's really about, and of course you have to have aspirations for material wealth, material growth, because you have to take care of your children. You have to, make sure that they get the best opportunities. At that stage, what were your experiments with truth? What were you thinking? What was driving you? What kind of ambition was driving you?
I used to think, I tell Murthy, my ambitions were not great actually. That is one of the reasons in marriage it became easier. I said, if I have a 2-bedroom house, 1 scooter, and a good job to look after my children's education, I'm not dependent on Murthy. I was not dependent on Murthy because I don't know whether Murthy will be successful or may not be successful, will work or may not work. That's all was my expectation.
You did get all that success. What was your attitude towards it?
Then I felt more than that what I got. I said, I must help people.
There are some questions on the youth which I would like to ask you, Sudhaji. How do you see India's youth today? You interact with so many youngsters. You've brought 2 very smart youngsters up. What is your perception of youth of today?
Every generation says next generation has so many advantages. So they did not suffer like us. We learned under the street light. I don't know which street light actually. So we suffered a lot. Look, we did not have a house. Our children have a house. So they get all the facility and they are not as hardworking as we are. I believe in mathematics. 1 by 2 is equal to 2 by 4 is equal to 3 by 6 is equal to 4 by 8. Answer is 0.5. This generation has lot of exposure and also remember lot of competition. Every generation has their own plus, their own minus. Every generation has their own difficulties and their own aspirations and their own tensions. So every generation has, but What you have to teach children is ethical work, and discipline, and learn something from elders. And we should not go on giving hazar examples or hazar updesh. They won't listen. Pick up your wars, not your fights. Okay. So I used to tell my children, look, there are many things which I don't ask you. There are some things I'm going to ask you. So teach your children to be independent, free thinking, and when needed, take your advice. When needed, take your advice. Don't go on giving advice. Then they don't value it. And what you want your children should become, you cannot start when they are 25, start when they are 5. Shodasha varsha prapteshu putram mitra vadacharet. When your child is 16, treat your child as your friend. Your dreams are your dreams. Their dreams are different. You can't make them to live your dreams. Don't put pressure on your children.
There's another very interesting question that has come. How do you deal with feeling low, anger, a sense of being dealt with unfairly, and sadness?
Life is unfair. There is fairness in life. But the way you look at it, like if a tiger catches a deer, for deer it is unfair. For a tiger it is fair. Is it not? So, life is unfair. You have to make it fair. As much as possible. You have to make it fair with whom you work, with what you do, as much as possible. Second thing, when I feel low, I look at positive way. I feel very happy. I say, look, I have so many things. Why should I feel low? I have so much opportunity to help people. Why should I feel low? In any situation, when I realize it is not going as per I look at it, I think, then I stop that way. Then I look at positive way, I feel happy.
Have you been cheated by a person?
Oh, many times.
Does that make you feel angry? Does that make you feel that you have to question what you have done, or that you should be also strident like them? I mean, what do you think?
Many times, how people look at me. Also, I know. I'll give 2 examples how people lie to me. Once I went to a music session and 2 women were sitting and chatting. They are from well-off families. And the first one said, my daughter is very